That's it. Go ahead.
Kyle, have you made the decision whether Nick or CJ will start for you on Sunday at Dallas?
Yeah, I plan on Nick starting, and we'll always see what goes on in practice. But Nick's the guy we'll start out with, and we'll see how it goes.
Hi, Kyle. I've got kind of, I guess, an obvious question because you always want to make great use of every draft pick every year. But a lot of focuses on your high profile free agents. You're going to be losing likely, a fair amount of role players. I think you could have anywhere from 8 to maybe 10 draft picks. It is I mean, right, no doubt. But I mean, will there be extra, I don't know, pressure or whatever? I don't know, to just kind of restore maybe the guts of the roster via the draft this spring?
Yeah, I think that's important every year. I think we built that pretty well our first couple of years. How many drafts? Yeah, our first three drafts. And then we made some risks to try to get our team over the hump to get to the Super Bowl, which obviously we did. And then last year was tough because we had to deal with not having those draft picks from that. So we tried to make the best picks that we thought had to fill some immediate holes. But that's why this year's draft's so important too. We took 1 year basically off of getting a full draft last year because of what we risked to get to the Super Bowl, and that's why we come into this year. Yeah, you're going to lose some free agents, and but we don't plan on losing all of them. But we also know we got to be very good with our draft, and that's usually what's the difference in building a consistent winner.
With Compton issue and McKivitt's going on the COVID list, I'm having a hard time figuring out who the next guy is at guard. Is Bergstrom able to play that position? Is he sort of the guy that can play in multiple spots?
He better be. Um, we'll have to try Robbie there or somebody, but no, it's I mean that's part of what people are dealing with the COVID issues. On top of the injuries we've had prior, so that's what just makes the COVID stuff tough for us because of where we're at. So we got a couple new practice squad guys in today, so we'll see them today on the field, and so that at least gives us some options. Um, but yeah, we'll see how the week goes with that. But that's the challenge of this year.
How is Ben Garland recovering from his calf injury, and do you expect to see him back on the field this year?
I don't expect to. I know he still has a chance. We won't rule him out, but I'm not expecting him right now.
You said earlier that basically you'd only bring Kittle and Jimmy back if you guys were in playoff contention. If you were to lose this week, would you still want to bring George Kittle back?
I mean, I would think about it a lot differently. I'm not saying for sure no. If I thought it would help him, and I thought it would help our team, definitely. I mean, there's more things to it than just making the playoffs. Obviously, that's the number one thing. But it would have to do with what George, if he's risking anything, then it would be an easy decision. I mean, we wouldn't even think about it. But if he could 100% come back and be normal, then that's something I'll talk to him about, talk to John about, and we'll figure out what's best for him and the team.
Kyle, what did the additional imaging on Raheem show, and when did he kind of re-injure that ankle, or is it a different injury?
No, I mean it's kind of how all high ankle sprains are. He zinged it a couple times in the game, which is going to happen to him a lot. But it felt just a little worse than normal, and he's not practicing today, but the imaging basically we feel pretty good that he'll be able to get there at the end of the week. So I think it hurt a little bit more than usual, but the imaging was somewhat positive. I mean, we're going to take care of him today and allow him to rest, and hopefully he'll feel a little bit better tomorrow.
Kyle, have you considered letting Justin School or someone else get some looks at right tackle? What are your thoughts on that spot and how Mike McGlinchey's playing right now?
No, I haven't considered that at all. I mean, Mike McGlinchey's our right tackle, and I feel very good about our right tackle. Do I think he's playing the best he can? No. I get the attention he got, especially getting that holding call on the last play and being into protection there. But also going against a good rusher, that doesn't give an excuse of it, but I'm not going to sit and make a huge judgment off of that. And McGlinchey played very good winning football for us last year. I do not think he's the reason we're struggling. I think it's a collective deal, and I'm very happy with McGlinchey here. And I know John and I would do that all over again if we had the choice to.
Kyle, wondering about the Cowboys. What can you say about them on on both sides of the ball, and how are you preparing for them this week?
I mean, I think the Cowboys are figuring it out right now. I think anytime I mean, they had some consistency on their offense over the last couple of years with the same coordinator, the quarterbacks, a lot of talent at wideout, running back, and O-line. Went through a ton of injuries, then lost their quarterback, which is a huge challenge for anybody. And then you look at their defense. I mean, just changing personnel and stuff like that, and going to a new scheme, and that's a challenge on everybody when you don't get an off season. But now watching them, you hear early in the year with some numbers and stuff like that, but I'm watching them for the first time, and there's a reason they've been playing good football lately. I see a defense that's got a lot of talent. I know that their offense and defense has been hurt, probably as bad by injuries as anyone in the league, probably right after us, so I know what that's like. But I see guys playing hard, and I see a defense that's playing very good right now with some good players. And anytime you have an offense that is down to their second quarterback, which he's a very good one, and Andy, I mean, he's played a lot of very good ball in his career. I know they only have one O-lineman left from their first game of the year, which, I mean, those are the challenges. Those are some things that I can relate to a little bit, but I think they're coming together and playing the best ball they've played right now throughout this year.
Kyle, back to Nick Mullins. Aside from his turnovers, what do you especially like to see from him? And I guess how beneficial, like, would this start and maybe the next couple of games be for him towards 2021, whether you want to bring him back or not?
I mean, I think it's big for him. I mean, it's big for everybody. I mean, you evaluate a whole year as a coach. The taste that stays in your mouth a little bit is usually how it ends. That's why, as a coach, just being through it, I've made some good decisions off that and some bad ones. So you got to really kind of get away for a couple weeks usually, let the emotions get out, and take some time to watch 16 weeks of football. And then you also look into what's available and what you can get and how you can upgrade. But Nick's played some good football for us. He really has. And he's got some numbers to back that up. I mean, some of the positions we put Nick in, and some of the plays that he has made are very impressive for a backup quarterback. I always feel that a backup quarterback, if they play too long, no one's going to like him that much, because backups aren't the starter. And that's why backups are meant to come in for 1 to 3 games. Now, Nick and CJ have both been in some tough situations where they got to play a lot. And that's why I try not to go too hard, because I think some of these situations, the rest of our team hasn't been there either. And Nick, I mean, first and foremost, if he wants to stay out there, he's got to stop turning the ball over. But I think when you look back to Sunday night, I think the other thing that sticks out the most is he missed a number of open throws, just throwing over a guy's head. I guess about 4 of them right now. And I think that really sticks out to people and sticks out to fans and stuff. And it does to me also. Nick needs to make those throws, and he's capable of making those throws. But I also know it doesn't help when you have 9 drops on top of that. And so to make one guy the center of attention and everything, I know emotionally how everyone feels. I feel that way too at times. But that's why you got to study the tape and really think about it, and do what's best for the team. And as you guys know, I do believe in CJ, and I almost put him in that game. He just didn't have time to warm up, and then Nick took us on a touchdown. Thought about it for 2 days. Nick's going to get the start this week unless something goes crazy in practice. But they're both ready to play, and CJ gets plenty of reps, and they're in a situation, like I kind of said all year, I see both of them as backups for us right now, and they're trying to prove that they're capable of being starters, and they haven't proved that fully. They could be more consistent with that.
I know you've spoken about Ronald Blair and the issues with his surgery and that he had a follow-up, but as far as long-term for him, now that secondary issue was taken care of, is he on the right track to be back for 2021?
I believe so. I haven't talked to Ronnie about it in a little bit. I mean, I know there were some negative things that happened with his surgery and stuff. So Ronnie's got to get that fixed, and I'm not sure where he is exactly right now with that, but I really hope it does. Ronnie's a very good player, a guy who's helped us a ton. I know a lot of people in this league think fairly highly of him, and I know he can play football if his knee's right, and that's something I hope he has better luck with here in this offseason.
Kyle, going back to Mcglinchey and the offensive line, do you think that sometimes they get a bad rap because their mistakes happen at the most inopportune times at, let's say, big moments?
Yeah, I do. I mean, and it's when you get beat. I mean, you're gonna you're going to get called out. That's part of our business. Mcglinchey had a big holding call. We did some stupid things on offense that made it seem like we weren't going to be in that game, and we had a chance and show some light at the end. And right when we got a little bit going, he had a big holding call. So I get why that sticks out. And also when you get beat in protection and the quarterback gets hit, that's the only time they're going to notice you, which is all right. I mean, it's not all right, but it's part of the business. We're happy with what Mcglinchey does for us. I think he does a very good job in the run game, really almost as good as anyone. I think he's getting better in the pass game, but it's by no means do I not think he can be a very good tackle for us, whether it's right side or left side. He's made of the right stuff, and when you get beat in this league, it's how you respond. And I think you got a tough enough man. I think you got a guy who's invested enough that everything he goes through, he'll figure out a way to get better. And his first 2 years in the league, each offseason he's gotten better. I thought he came into this offseason better. He's had a little setbacks here in the last few weeks, but I think he'll step back big this week, and I think this will lead to a better season in year 4 for him.
Kyle Juszczyk is a finalist for the Rooney Sportsmanship Award. Can you just talk a little bit about what he's brought to the team in that way over the years? Kyle's as consistent of a person as I've really been around. He's the only guy that I kind of make fun of him a little bit for being a Harvard guy because it's obvious why. But I mean, we Zoom meet with all our players. He's the only one who looks like he got up, showered, combed his hair, shaved, and sitting right at his desk ready to meet, even though they're still in their bedrooms. But he's just everything he eats. I think he's only been eating vegetables since he was 8 or something, and he's just so by the book and all that stuff. That's why he's going to succeed in whatever he does, and not to mention how good of a football player he is. I mean, the guy is fearless. He's smart on the field. Most times you get people who are that smart, and then they get to the field and they try to play with their brain, and they just hesitate left and right because they overthink things. Kyle is one of the smartest guys, the most prepared guys I've been around, but he reacts and plays, and that's why he's a hell of a football player too, and a hell of a person.
On the broadcast the other day, they showed Jimmy sitting in the press box, like taking notes and things. I'm just wondering, what are some of the things that he can do during this to kind of stay involved? How much communication you have with him, things like that.
I see Jimmy in all our Zoom meetings. We can't have much in person, so he comes to every meeting, and most of it's directed towards all the Nick and CJ and Josh, the guys who got reps at practice, and then he comes to all the game meetings. And besides that, he's rehabbing every time. So he's in all the meetings hearing us coach. But besides that, he's working on his own, really with George and a couple guys, trying to get back to where I know he's trying to at least get into practice. It's a little different with the quarterback, too. Like George, we can get into practice today, and it doesn't affect as much. But there's only one quarterback out there. So, we got to get him in to where he's healthy enough to come in and practice. But we're not going to do that till we feel there's at least a chance for him to be able to play and protect himself.
Got time for 2 more?
Relatively recently, everyone felt like, it takes receivers maybe at least, 2 years or 3 years until, I don't know, they're fully developed and ready. It's not just this year, but I guess it's most notable this year without really an off-season program, Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb and Ayuk and all these guys. Has something changed, I don't know, with NFL offenses for these guys that allows them to transition a little better to the NFL? That makes sense.
Yeah, I know the thing is it takes receivers time, but I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head, but there's definitely a receiver that can contradict any of that stuff. I don't think anything's changed with times. I think the players you mentioned are really good players, but they came out pretty good players. Ayuk's having a very good season, doing a good job for us and playing like more than a rookie. But Ayuk has not arrived yet. He can get a lot better, a lot. I feel that way with Debo. Debo helped us a lot last year, and he really didn't get it go into his second year. So this is almost his first year again. But we would have not got where we got last year without our second-round receiver in Debo. So it depends on the type of guys you get. Some guys aren't ready for the physicality of the game because with receivers. So sometimes it takes guys to toughen up for the league because you don't get hit like that in college. And then some guys just don't know how to run routes and everything because in college you get away with it.
I think some of the guys you mentioned, especially like Jefferson, just with the offense he was in, you got to see him run all the type of routes that he's running now. That very similar to New Orleans' scheme with their coordinator. Ayuk, you could just tell you could tell he was a pro. You could tell he was tough. You could tell how he ran routes that you thought he would develop well. But that's by no means. Everyone hits and everyone misses. You don't really know, but you usually got a pretty good idea of how they handle themselves the first year. And then you'll know if you got a good one to seeing how they respond in this offseason, if they come back next year like they've arrived or like they're coming back to get better. Because the guys who come back like they've arrived are the guys that usually are going to go the opposite direction.
Last one.
Kyle, obviously 3 games left in the season, but after the season, things happen pretty quickly. Have you had an opportunity, or have you spoken to Robert Saleh about in the some would say likely event that he becomes a head coach, which assistants he can take with him as he fills his coordinator positions and his potential staff at his new team?
Yeah, Saul and I talk about everything. We've known each other for a long time. We obviously work together, and he's a good friend of mine. So that's stuff we're constantly talking about. When it comes up, once you talk about it, there's not much to keep talking about. You never know until you see what opportunity he gets and you see what his choices are. And I keep telling him he's not allowed to take anyone. And sometimes I can ease up a little bit on that, but I usually set the bar very low, and then we'll see what happens after.
All right, folks, thanks.
All right, guys, thanks.
Okay. Okay.
Go for Fred, guys.
Hey, Fred, how you doing?
Doing well.
Good. The stinger that you had Sunday, how was it related to the one that you had about a month earlier? I think against Seattle. Is that a lingering concern for you? Is that something that you got to watch going forward?
Yeah, I guess it was the same side and everything, but when I went back and looked at it, it was almost like a freak accident. The way my neck got caught, it was almost in the stomach of an O lineman, and the force him coming at me, and it was kind of just one of those things where it was a freak thing. So I don't think it's a cause for concern at all. I'm just going to continue to treat it, and I'm already feeling better, so should be good to go.
Do you automatically know that's a stinger, or does it take a while to figure out what the heck has happened?
No, I automatically knew. Similar sensation, feel as the last time I got in Seattle. I knew right away. Just doing it a second time felt a little worse this time around. I think that's what kept me from coming back in the game. So, but like I said, I'm feeling a lot better now. I'm just going to continue to treat it and listen to the trainers and whatnot.
Mike McCarthy earlier today said that you're one of the best at your job, one of the best linebackers in the game right now. I know you want to look at yourself in the mirror when you go through games, but how does it make you feel when you get someone like that hearing those accolades?
It's flattering for sure. It means the world. Like I said before, the only thing I wanted when I came to this league was respect. All the people telling me that I couldn't play in the box and I was just a big safety and I wasn't physical and all these other things that people told me coming in the draft, and to have come this far this early on, it means a lot. But I'm only scratching the surface of what I'm capable of. I'm extremely hard on myself. I have the highest expectations of myself and my game, and I'm gonna continue to try and be the best I can for this team. And I have a long way to go, so I'm just gonna keep working.
Also, stepping off the field, how did Aziz do? What can you assess from his performance?
I thought Aziz did great. I thought he did a really good job just being in there. He's such a smart player, physical, great talent, and I feel like he came in there. He made some good tackles and got the defense aligned. Obviously, there's always a couple things that you know I'm sure he wants a couple plays back, but I mean he did a great job. I love how he comes to work every day, and he's going to continue to get better.
Hey, but I realize it can't happen now, but have you or your agent gotten any signals from the 49ers that, extension talks could begin, shortly after the season?
I have absolutely no idea about any of that. So I'm just going to continue to play the best style of football I can, and hope whenever that happens, it happens. But yeah, I have no idea where we're at with any of that. So.
Last one.
Brett, I know you never want to sit out of a game, but being out there, being able to watch a little bit, did it give you any other perspective on the game and what you saw from the defense?
Yeah, it was so tough being in that locker room watching, because obviously I wanted to be out there and be with them, but just so proud, obviously, just the fight that we put up in that game, and I thought we did a great job. Aside from probably could have tried to help the team with a couple more takeaways, but the way that we held our own on defense, it was great to see, and I think as a whole we're all just trying to look ourselves in the mirror and see how we can get better this week, and we're excited for the opportunity because Dallas is another great team, another great challenge, and we got to make sure we're on our A game.
All right, thank you, Fred.
Thanks, guys.
We watched the animal films, and obviously glad that you're okay.
Yeah.
Mentioning your mom was so I feel like I gotta get on my mom's trip.
Hey guys, we got Nick here for you.
What's up, guys?
Nick, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about y'all?
Good, thanks. When you dive back into the tape from Sunday, what are the things that kind of stick out to you that you can, kind of wrap your mind around and work on this week to get better?
Yeah, I think just staying calm in the pocket. I was a little antsy from the start on Sunday, so just staying calm in the pocket. I think that's the biggest thing. If I stay calm in the pocket and go through my reads, then everything else takes care of itself. And so that's one thing that I'm going to focus on this week.
Nick, Kyle's talked a lot about just stressing turnovers. How do you focus on limiting turnovers without making it something that you're fearful of and staying aggressive?
Yeah, you just keep emphasizing it. Just make the simple play. That's the biggest thing. Just make the simple play. Don't try to do too much. If it's not there, throw it away. And that's up to me. I have the ball in my hands every play, and so just got to protect it.
Hey, Nick, on the broadcast the other day, they showed Jimmy sitting up in the press box or whatever, he was taking notes. I'm just wondering what kind of resource he's been for you throughout this, and maybe what kind of things he's doing in the game to kind of stay plugged in.
Yeah, he's a positive influence and a positive voice. We don't see him too much during the week, like doing rehab and things like that. But we're always catching up, always talking, and he's just a positive voice. I know he pulls for me more than anybody, and so yeah, he's a great teammate, and that's the biggest thing, just always lifting me up.
Nick, the turnovers aside, it seemed some of your passes were a little bit more inaccurate than usual on Sunday. How much does that just stick with you, and why was that? Was there something common on why you were missing guys, either high or throwing low?
I can't put my finger on one reason really. I think the biggest thing is you just go back to the field and get your routes on air in, and you practice, and you just go back to work. I mean, those are routine plays. Those are expected to be made. That's the expectation at the position, and that keeps us on the field. And so I got to be more accurate.
Stole my question there, but it was about overthrows. A lot of times when you see quarterbacks, not you, but any quarterback miss, it often is the ball sails over the target. I'm just wondering is there a common denominator there? Follow through, getting the ball over the offensive line. I mean, why when quarterbacks miss do they often miss high?
I think probably has to do with the feet. I think that's the biggest thing. When my feet are at their best, my throws are at their best. So just keep calm feet, keep sound footwork, and just stay calm with your feet in the pocket, and your mechanics take care of themselves.
2 more, please.
Nick, Kyle Juszczyk is one of the finalists for the Rooney Sportsmanship Award. Can you just talk a little bit about him as a teammate in that way and what he's brought to your game?
Yeah, he's a true pro in every sense of the word. I mean, ever since he came to the 49ers, we came in the same year here, and he's just a true pro. Really just he does everything right. And that's, I mean, he just does his job to an extremely high level, and does everything right. And that's all you can really say about Juice. I mean, he's a pro. He's a great teammate. Just does his job. And if you do your job at a high level every single day, you'll gain respect. And that's what Juice has done. And that's why the whole team respects him. And that's why he's up for the award, because he's a solid teammate and role model for sure.
Nick, how much are you looking forward to George being back at practice this week, and how much effect can he have on the offense, especially on game day?
Yeah, I can't wait to see George out there. Even just take his talent and playmaking ability aside, just his energy and smile. George is always bringing juice, and so it'll be awesome to have him back out there. And to the offense, I mean, people know anytime George gets the ball in his hands, a big play is about to happen, and so he definitely helps the offense and helps the team.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, guys.